Hello, church, and welcome to another daily devotional. I'd say it's good to see you, but this is a one-way street on these devotions. But I hope this finds you well this 4th of July week as we talk about the topic of the sovereignty of God. What does that mean? It means that God is in control of all things, over all things. King, sometimes we call him, of all creation. And today I want to share with you a little passage from the book of Isaiah. It's from Isaiah chapter 55. Really, I encourage you to read the whole of chapter 55. Read the whole book of Isaiah if you want. If you've got a lot of time. It's a long book. But this portion of Isaiah 55, I'm going to read verses 10 and 11. For just as the rain and the snow come down from heaven and don't return there, but rather water the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word that goes out from my mouth not return empty. It shall accomplish that which I purpose it to do, and it shall succeed in the very thing for which I sent it. So I've been on a lot of mission trips. Some of you have been on mission trips with me. And I remember as a kid, high school kid, wanting to go on trips. And then later as a college young adult, they kind of asked me if I'd go with our high school students. And I remember thinking all these times that I'd been on college or high school trips that, we were going to go help somebody who was quote unquote less fortunate. We were going to go fix up a home or build a wheelchair ramp for somebody who couldn't get access easily to their home. We're going to fix a leaky roof or some leaky pipes or whatnot, or et cetera, paint the house. And on this one occasion, again, I was probably about 20. I was watching over these high school students. And going into the trip, they were kind of, mouthy and cliquey and tough. And I remember we went on to the Elon Center in North Carolina, a center of race relations and reconciliation and justice from the United Church of Christ, going way back to the days of slavery. And when we went there, my little team of, I think there were 5 kids, 1 boy and 4 girls, and then me. And we were going to paint Thelma, this elderly woman, African-American woman's home, and she had 2 little granddaughters who she was raising. Her daughter, I can't remember her daughter's story, but she was, for whatever reason, whether it was mental disability or some kind of trouble of some kind, she wasn't able to raise these children at the time. And so we started painting. Day one, we just started painting, and Thelma peeked out and said hello, and would we like some iced tea, sweet tea rather. And some of the kids got to talking to Thelma, and at first, we were painting pretty good the first hour or two, and then I look over and the 4 ladies and then the guy are all over there around Thelma, just, drinking their sweet tea, and I'm painting, but they're all over there, kind of doing their thing, listening to her. And my first instinct was they're slacking off. Come on, guys, we got to paint this house. And to be truthful, because I was there in charge of them that week, I kind of pushed them, we got 4 more days. Now we got 3 more days to finish this house. And every day we knew, be working good in the morning, it'd get a little hotter out, and then same thing. They'd be, in there with Thelma, playing around with the kids and stuff. And that was kind of fun as I saw them start to interact with the kids and talking more and more. And about day 3, one of the kids said, are we going to finish the house? We got to finish the house for Thelma. And they were starting to get worried because we still had some more. The house was in pretty bad shape, so we still had some more work to do on it. So the first day was, just kind of priming it and scraping and identifying wood that needed to be replaced and things like that. But by the 4th day, Selma, who was very poor, had made us some sandwiches. Even though we had brought our lunch every day, she said, no, please eat with me. And I began to think, we're not here to paint a house. God has put this small group of high school kids and me together. And we're here in some way to bring a light of hope into this woman's life and her grandchildren. But in the same way, I watched, and as we finished painting that house, the kids were proud. Thelma was gracious. She didn't have to be, it didn't depend on her graciousness or not. But then the kids, as we were driving back, and the next weeks, some of them started to write to Thelma, and they kept saying they were troubled. Why is Thelma in such a poor situation? These kids all came from pretty well-to-do homes. And they started wrestling with, why were we on that mission trip? And they started wrestling with, we thought, our parents sent us on the trip, or we wanted to go with our friends and hang out. And then God showed up. Maybe it was that God put us in this situation. Maybe, we all thought we were going to go help someone less fortunate. We were going to fix up some homes. We were going to be part of our wider group. But maybe God sent that seed, that rain, that word to accomplish something else in each of us. And I watched these young kids, because my group was a younger group, sophomores and freshmen, start to really change in their faith, start to speak out in youth group in ways that they'd kind of been wallflowers before, start to form leadership roles in the youth group that they grew into more and more. And then, about 10 years later, I look back, and some of these kids, actually it's not even 10, about 5 years later, some of those kids were in the role I was in. As I look back at the youth group, and here they are, college students, leading young high school kids to different places in the country to help the less fortunate. And at the same time, God shows up in mighty ways and says, hey, this is about relationship, not about what you're doing. What you're doing is great, but I sent you for her or for him. And my sending doesn't come back empty. Never. Never does it come back empty. So I wonder this week, as you're going through your week, planning whatever 4th of July plans you have or not, who is it that God sends you out to bear fruit to this week? I wonder how the purposes of God will be lived out through you, God's servant, in ways that maybe you can only see looking in the rearview mirror as you reflect and pause on what God's word is doing through you. May this find you blessed as we think about the sovereignty of God's word in our lives and the way it can transform us in ways we don't suspect nor plan. Amen.